Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Now we're diving into a developing political story that's stirring up headlines in New York and beyond. It centers around two powerful figures in the Democratic Party: House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries and New York Assemblyman Zohran Mamdani. Their complicated relationship, marked by years of political clashes, is now under the spotlight again as Jeffries considers whether to endorse Mamdani for New York City Mayor. But the past is proving hard to ignore. From accusations of Islamophobia to comparisons with segregationist leaders, this situation is more than just political. It's deeply personal and ideologically charged. Let's break it down. The history of conflict. Zohran Mamdani, a self-proclaimed democratic socialist representing Queens, has long been critical of the Democratic establishment, and Hakeem Jeffries in particular. Back in November 2022, Mamdani posted a scathing tweet on X, formerly Twitter, calling out Jeffries for remarks he made in support of Israel during a 2014 rally. At that rally, Jeffries passionately stated, "Israel today, Israel tomorrow, Israel forever." Mamdani compared that statement to the infamous words of Alabama Governor George Wallace, who in 1963 declared, "Segregation now, segregation tomorrow, segregation forever." Mamdani's post was more than just criticism. It was a direct shot at the top-ranking black lawmaker in the House of Representatives, equating Jeffries' pro-Israel stance with a symbol of American white supremacy. The comparison stirred outrage among many Democrats and observers, who saw it as deeply offensive and historically inaccurate. But for Mamdani and others on the far left, the statement was meant to highlight what they view as blind loyalty to Israel, regardless of the humanitarian cost to Palestinians. That post marked a turning point in Mamdani's rising profile as one of the most vocal pro-Palestinian politicians in New York. Islamophobia accusations surface. Just months later, Mamdani again criticized Jeffries, this time accusing him indirectly of Islamophobia. The basis for this accusation was a resurfaced 2000 debate clip, in which a younger Jeffries, then running for the New York State Assembly, commented on his religious differences with his opponent, who was a practicing Muslim. Jeffries said, "Yes, my opponent is older, I'm younger, it's not religion. Yes, the assemblyman is a practicing Muslim, and I grew up in the Cornerstone Baptist Church." His Muslim opponent, Roger Green, walked off stage in frustration. Mamdani, who is himself a practicing Muslim, later reflected on that moment in a 2023 interview with Politico, saying, "Islamophobia has become less explicit. You might not hear the word Muslim, you might not hear the word Islam, but you will hear about extremism or ties to specific groups or attempts at making associations that will block any consideration of a candidacy in a voter's mind." While Mamdani didn't directly call Jeffries an Islamophobe, the implication was clear. He believed that Jeffries used subtle language to cast doubt on Muslim candidates, a charge that added further strain to their already tense relationship. October 7th, and the ceasefire debate. The Israel-Hamas war that erupted on October 7, 2023, only deepened the divide. Just days after the conflict began, Mamdani was arrested at a protest outside Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer's home in Park Slope, Brooklyn. The protest called for an immediate ceasefire and an end to U.S. military aid to Israel. While Jeffries condemned Hamas's attacks and stood firm in support of Israel, Mamdani took the opposite stance. He publicly accused Jeffries of enabling violence through his support for President Biden's request for $14 billion in military funding for Israel. In one passionate speech shared widely on social media, Mamdani declared, "Congressman Jeffries has yet to call for a ceasefire." Congressman Jeffries has said that he seriously supports President Biden's request for an additional $14 billion in military funding for Israel. And I must ask Congressman Jeffries, how many more Palestinians must be killed before you call for a ceasefire? This speech, met with cheers at a rally, solidified Mamdani's position as one of Jeffries' most vocal critics, and also placed pressure on Democratic leadership to reconcile with a growing left-wing base demanding a shift in U.S. foreign policy. The Globalize the Intifada controversy. Another source of controversy emerged around Mamdani's previous comments defending the phrase "globalize the Intifada," a slogan often associated with violent resistance against Israel. While Mamdani insisted he interpreted the phrase as a, quote, "desperate desire for equality," and a symbol of Palestinian resistance, Jeffries wasn't satisfied. In a carefully worded statement, Jeffries called on Mamdani to clarify his position. In response, Mamdani said he would discourage the use of the phrase, and emphasized that he hadn't personally used it. Still, critics argue that this episode reflects the radical rhetoric emerging from some Democratic socialist circles, rhetoric that mainstream Democrats like Jeffries find hard to support. The endorsement question. Despite their long-standing differences, Jeffries recently sat down for a one-on-one meeting with Mamdani. According to Jeffries' spokesperson, the conversation lasted over an hour and was described as, quote, constructive, candid, and community-centered. The two are expected to meet again when Mamdani returns from Uganda, where he and his wife are taking a short break from the campaign. Mamdani immigrated from Uganda as a child and often references his heritage as part of his political identity. So far, Jeffries has avoided endorsing Mamdani, nor has he openly criticized him in recent months. This balancing act appears intentional. Jeffries is trying to hold the party together, appealing to both moderate voters and a rising socialist wing that's demanding bold action on everything from police reform to foreign policy. Senator Chuck Schumer, another powerful New York Democrat, has also refrained from endorsing Mamdani. And as the November general election approaches, the question looms large. Will Jeffries get behind Mamdani, stay silent, or find another way to signal his stance? Republican reaction. Republicans have not hesitated to weigh in. Mike Marinella, a spokesman for the National Republican Congressional Committee, mocked Jeffries, saying, "Hakeem is too weird and too weak to even win over the Democrat nominee for his own city. How would anyone expect him to win back the House?" He went on to claim that the socialism wing has taken over the Democratic Party, using Mamdani as a symbol of what they see as a radical shift in Democratic priorities. For now, it's clear that Mamdani's campaign, whether it wins or loses, has already disrupted traditional Democratic politics in New York. So what's your take? Is this a healthy debate within the party or a sign of deeper divisions to come? Drop a comment below and let us know where you stand. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you don't miss our next breakdown.